think we can all make an educated guess and come to the conclusion that Rodrygo's time at Real Madrid is coming to an end. And it hurts to see because this guy's a player that I rate. We're talking about the Mumbai Neymar here, the New Delhi Messi, the Bangladeshian Ronaldo. This is my favorite player at the club, and I think he has so much potential. But if we look at what's going on with his situation at the club, the writing's on the wall. I think after this Club World Cup, Rodrygo is out of here. It's not been a good tournament for him. My man's been holding bench. He's barely getting played. And there's been multiple matches where he didn't get any minutes. And I know that when Xabi Alonso first came in and in his press conferences and whenever he's asked about Rodrygo, he speaks very highly about him. He said that he's important for the team. He's going to have a big role to play. But I'm a person that believes actions speak louder than words. Just because Xabi Alonso is saying that Rodrygo's an important player, it doesn't mean that he's going to get treated like one, right? Xabi Alonso's actions have shown us that Rodrygo is not a player that is going to be counted on to start games more times than not. So it looks like what Rodrygo has been relegated to is a super sub at Real Madrid. So now we have this dilemma, and we're about to get a transfer battle on our hands for this player because the left wing market is mid. Like, when I look at the players who are available on that left side of the attack, none of them are as good as Rodrygo. And if this guy is available, and if he is going to be able to leave the club, yeah, I expect a lot of these big teams to have a transfer war over this guy because he's a baller. But at Real Madrid, he's never going to be the main man. He's never going to get a chance to play in his preferred position. So it's looking like for the better of his career, a move would make a lot more sense. But I want you guys to get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this Rodrygo situation. Should he leave or should he stay? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. I do want to read through a couple of reports, and we're going to break some things down. Rodrygo, I'm going to be honest. It's not looking good, bro. You're looking like the odd man out at Real Madrid. We knew that after this past season, some things were going to change because what we saw underneath Carlo Ancelotti, getting dominated by Barca, losing 4 El Clasicos in a row, getting cooked in the Champions League by Arsenal, getting embarrassed, not winning any of the 3 trophies at the end of the season, having to watch our biggest rivals do a domestic treble. We knew that the club were going to respond this summer. And the effects of having such a shit season is that players that we might like are more than likely going to have to leave, especially if a new manager comes in and has a different system. Now, Xabi Alonso is here, and I like what I've seen from him so far. But the formation that we look the best with is the 3-5-2, which means we don't play with wingers at the moment. We're playing with wingbacks. But in terms of the front 3 that we saw last season, Rodrygo's the one that's got dropped to the bench because it looks like Vinicius and Mbappé are going to be the 2 up top. And the person that's taken Rodrygo's spot in the 11 is Arda Güler because our midfield lacked control. Our midfield had no balance. We were running Jude, Tchouaméni, Valverde, all very good midfielders. But they're runners. They're engines. They're workhorses. None of them are able to control a midfield. Insert Arda Güler. And it's no coincidence that with Arda in the starting 11, we look a lot better. So a lot of reports are coming out. The speculation is that Rodrygo might leave Real Madrid this summer. And I personally think he will. I've said it from time. Even when Xabi Alonso first came in and said Rodrygo's an important player for us and we want to depend on him, etc. And a lot of people were acting like that meant he was going to stay. But didn't I tell you, chat? I said, wait to see what happens in the Club World Cup. The Club World Cup will be the biggest indicator on what happens with Rodrygo's future. And now here we are. The guy in the round of 16, knockout stage game for Real Madrid, big matchup, did not get any minutes against Juve. And the thing is, he's been fit. It's not like he's not getting minutes because he's injured or he's sick like Mbappé. No, my guy is fit. He didn't play in multiple games throughout this tournament for tactical reasons. That just tells me you're not rated as a starter. When Xabi Alonso needs to rely on players, he's not going to be counting on you. And unless Rodrygo is fine with being a super sub, then he's going to have to leave the club. Now, me personally, right, before we read the reports and get into what they're saying, I would love if Rodrygo was happy to hold bench, be a super sub, and get rotated with Vinicius. I would love that. But the odds are he's going to want to be a starter, right? When the reports first came out about Rodrygo not being happy, they talked about how he felt like he was too low in the pecking order. He felt like no matter what he did, he was always being taken out first, right? He didn't like the fact that he always had to play out of position. He didn't like the fact that when the Ballon d'Or list came out last season, he didn't even make the top 30. And even though Rodrygo, again, is my favorite player at the club, I think this guy is a baller. I think this guy has world-class potential. He's not lived up to the hype that we've given him. And this past season, he was super inconsistent. The guy went missing for large parts of the season. Wasn't really contributing, wasn't getting involved in the final third, just looked like he was out there doing cardio for a lot of weeks. So here we are. And I think if there is a big sale that happens at Real Madrid, it's going to be him. Now, the report is saying that both Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso are open to Rodrygo leaving the club this summer. They will not stand in the way if a suitable offer is made. Arsenal have held preliminary talks with Rodrygo's camp. Now, let's focus in on Arsenal really quickly because it does seem like they are the favorites to sign him. But I don't think it's going to be just that cut and dry. If you guys look at the graphic that I have right there, I've put Bayern, I have Liverpool. I think other clubs will be involved as well, like Chelsea. I think, teams that need a winger, they're going to come in for Rodrygo. The left wing market is trash. Like, look at Chelsea signing Jamie Gittins, right? People were chasing Nico Williams, right? These guys are scrubs. Rodrygo is the best left winger that is possibly available on the market. I am expecting a bidding war for him. But according to what all the big outlets and the journalists are saying, Arsenal seem to be the heavy favorites to get the deal over the line. Now, they say that Arsenal are now ready to make an offer of over 90 million euros for Rodrygo, and that's after the Club World Cup ends. The player has put talks with Arsenal on standby until the tournament ends. Now, I don't know why Rodrygo is putting talks off with Arsenal. Again, Xabi Alonso does not rate you like that. I don't think all of a sudden, unless an injury happens, you're going to be counted on. So, unless you are fine with being on the bench, then I think you do need to leave the club. I think going to Arsenal makes a lot of sense because they have a hole on that left wing. Martinelli is mid, and Trossard is a bench player. They also need to make some big moves this summer because it's make or break for Arteta. They are a team that's expected to go on and win a major trophy this season. Adding a player like Rodrygo shows a lot of intent. And what I actually think that Arsenal have over a lot of the other teams that might come in for him is that they have a Brazilian core already at the club. So there's going to be players there that can help him integrate, right? You got Gabriel Jesus. You got Gabriel Magalhaes. You got Gabriel Martinelli. First off, these guys got a lot of fucking Gabriels. My goodness. Anyways, right? They have their Brazilian core at the club. That might play a big role for Rodrygo in making his decision. But I don't think Rodrygo should not be holding talks with Arsenal until after the Club World Cup ends. The guy might as well just wait. He might as well just be in talks now. You have time. It's not like you're playing games. And if you're Arsenal, you should be wanting to get this deal done as soon as possible. Because after this Club World Cup ends, and once it's made more clear that Rodrygo is available, I expect other teams to come in. Now, the last report that we're going to look at says, and it's kind of reiterating what the first one said, is that Real Madrid are now ready to listen to offers for Rodrygo, but no club has made a bid so far. Now, I think Rodrygo should be going for $100 million. The best left winger on the market. The guy has won UCLs. He's won everything that there is to at Real Madrid. He's played a big role in our success. He's scored in important goals. I don't think he should be going for a fair or cheap price. That to me is nonsense. The transfer market is inflated. We need to take advantage. Like we talked about Arsenal. I personally think Bayern will come in for him. Bayern's left wing is dead. And we know that they have the money to spend. They were going to put it for Florian Wirtz before he rejected them. They were also chasing Nico Williams. They were also trying to contact Liverpool for Luis Diaz. They want a left winger, and they are desperate. Rodrygo, I think, would make their attack arguably the best in the world. You imagine a front four of Rodrygo on the left, Musiala in the 10, Olise on the right, Harry Kane in the 9. That would be scary. I think Liverpool, right? Barcelona got rejected by Nico Williams. Barcelona want Luis Diaz. Barcelona, I think Luis Diaz will force that move. Liverpool might come in with the offer for Rodrygo. They've been linked to him in the past a lot. I don't think Man City need a Rodrygo because they've already signed Cherky. They got Jeremy Doku. They got Savinho. Like, I don't really think it makes sense for them to sign another attacker. They need to focus on their midfield and their defense. But I think Rodrygo is a player that starts for damn near every club in the world except for like a few. I don't necessarily think, like, for example, PSG need him. PSG don't need wingers. I think Barcelona could come in for Rodrygo. Who knows? Maybe a Luis Figo 2.0. I highly doubt that Real Madrid will sell. But Barcelona want a left winger. Rodrygo is better than Nico Williams. I'm just saying, if Rodrygo wants to be put in the best in the world conversations, if he wants people to rate him a lot higher, he's going to have to leave Real Madrid. I'm not going to lie. Like, because he's going to just be second fiddle here. And Xabi Alonso has made that perfectly clear. But let me know what you guys are saying about this whole Rodrygo situation. And if he does leave, which club do you think should sign him? Like, where do you think he'd get, or which club do you think will get the most out of him? I believe it'll be a situation like this, right? Where Rodrygo ends up leaving Real Madrid, goes on to fulfill his potential. He's going to be an absolute baller. And then people are going to say that Real Madrid are stupid for selling him. And it's going to be it's going to be like a Hakimi thing, right? Where Hakimi came through the academy. We all saw his potential, smashed it at Dortmund. But he was never going to get in over Danny Carvajal. Now he's the best right back in the world at PSG. And you know what I'm saying? So, again, it's a weird situation. I hope that Rodrygo stays. Hopefully he doesn't mind being a super sub, but I just don't see him wanting to be. And then let's not forget, next season is a World Cup year. He's going to need to be playing if he wants to be starting for Brazil. Brazil's a very big national team, very competitive. Rodrygo's going to probably be factoring them in as well. But I do think Arsenal are the favorites to get him. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications. Let there be carnage.